everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about exceptions. And what we're dealing with when we're talking about exceptions is really error handling. How do we do things so that we can not crash our program when we have things that we're not expecting? So, for instance, let's say I had a store and my cash drawer really wasn't adding up like it should every time. And I'm trying to figure out really what's happening. So I have an input that the computer's telling me the change should be. I want to see what my employees are actually giving out as change. So they're going to have to enter this into this little program. We're going to make this thing customer change equals. And we're going to bring in a float. And the float's going to have an input. Please enter the amount of change that you gave back to the customer. There you go. And then we're going to print this out real quick. Print, and then customer change. Hit play. Please enter the amount of change you gave to the customer. We gave them $3.20. That sounds good. 3.2 is what came out. Nice. What happens when we run this again and we have a problem? A is what we're going to put. Oh man, we just crashed our program here. We have all this error in here that right there. This crashed our program and we don't want this to happen. So what we can do is something called a try statement. I'm going to come down here. I type try. I'm going to build the whole statement out for you here, and that way we can deal with the parts that we want to deal with, and we'll just kind of work through this. So we have a try. This is a 4-part statement that we can use. Try. The next part is accept. Pass, and we're going to go through this here in a second. We're going to then do an else, a pass, and then we're going to do a finally. Finally, and pass. Let's talk about what these things do. I'm going to comment this thing. Da, da, da. This area will try what we put in, but will not crash program. So again, this is kind of a safe area to put things in, especially things like user input. Something like that. Let's go ahead and take this out. And right here. So we're happy with this. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to get rid of this for now. Okay, the accept area. This happens when there is an error in the try section. Okay, so if we have an error in here, we're going to jump down to accept. We have this else statement. The else statement's really cool because this happens when there is no error in the try section. And then finally, this always happens. But let's look through our comments here. We try something, and if it works, then it works. We have the local variable, which this time will be customer change. If it doesn't work, then the accept here happens, and these two here, try and accept, need to be there. We don't have to have the else. We do not have to have the finally. But again, I'm building all 4 parts out so you can see this work. So let's come in here to our accept. And what do we want to do when this thing has an exception? We're going to print out. Please enter a valid number. Okay, so that's going to happen if we have a problem. In our else, we're going to print out this is a good number. There we go. Now let's watch this thing work. And this time I'm going to run it in debug mode. I'll put a couple spots in here to have us end. Actually, we'll go ahead and stop it there too. All right, now let's run this thing in debug and we're going to watch this thing work. Run in debug Python. So here we go. Please enter the amount of change that's given to the customer. We're sitting right here on 4 because we stopped because this is an input. I am going to give us a good number first, 3.2. Press enter, and you can see it jump down to my print statement here. It's going to say this is a good number. That's what's getting ready to show up here. This is a good number. And then it goes to our finally, which we just passed. Let's try this again. And run in debug, Python. This time I'm going to give it a bad entry. A. Yes, we got the error. This is because we're in debug mode. Now we jump to the accept. This is what we're expecting to have. And then we're getting ready to print our problem. Please enter a valid number. And then we jump over the else because we did not have, and we had an error in our try. So we're now to the finally. So let's go ahead and finish that out. Now let's go ahead and watch this thing work a little bit more. I'm going to import time here. Time. Very good. And then do a couple things in here in our statement here. We're gonna look to see how long it actually takes our employee to put this in. So we're gonna make a start time. Start time equals time dot time, something like that. At the end, because again, this will always happen, we're gonna make an end time equals time. These last two I could have done in one line. I understand that, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Total time equals end time minus start time. And then we're going to print. There we go. So this is a way we're going to see this happen. We're going to be, you'll see the finally statement work here. Again, we're going to put something good in here. We'll go again with a 3.2. This is a good number. Now we are jumping down here. We now have an end time. We can see these things start to show up here. Customer change 3.2. We have a start time. And then we printed out our total time right here. And go ahead and do this again with an error. Excuse me. So let's run this again. Python. We're going to put an A in here. Yes, we have a problem. I understand. Where our accept. Please enter a valid number. And then we now come down here. Please enter a valid number. We still have our end time. That's going to work, which it gave us. Very good. So now let's go ahead and take our accept to another level here. So for this time, I'm going to go with, I know that this is going to be a value error if this part right here messes up. So I'm going to say this exception here, I want this to be a value error. And on a value error, it's going to say, please enter a valid number. For any other type of problem, I'm going to go accept. There we go. Call this for just a regular exception. I'm going to call this one print. Please try, yeah, please try again. All right. So now let's watch this work. I'm just going to put the A in. And instead of getting this exception here, I'm going to get this value error. Let's go ahead and apply. Please enter amount, A. Please enter a valid number. Very good. I'm going to put something else in here. I'm going to go with uh, an error equals, we're going to call this one equals me. All right, I have not defined me. I'm going to get some type of error in here, but it's not going to be a value error, so I should just get please try again. I'm going to put a good number in here, so I know I'm not going to get the value error. Please try again. And that's because we did not get this value error here. We had a different type of error, and we went with our exception. And then the other thing we can do is come in here. I'm going to put as E, and then there's just something kind of neat. E again. Again, our 3.2. And it says the name me is not defined. I didn't get that all that junk in there about all these different error things. It just gave me something very clear. This is what the error was. The name me is not defined. And that's just because I came in here and said, take this exception and bring it in as E and then print what the exception is. I can do the same thing up here as E. And I'm gonna please enter a valid number. And I'm gonna print again. This time I'm gonna give it a bad number, A. Uh, please enter a valid number, which it says right here. Then we're printing the E, could not convert string to a float A. So our customer input we could not do because we had this error. Since we did find our error that we had, we did not go into our second exception here. Instead, we jumped right over to finally. So that is a quick explanation of the try, except, else, finally, and what we're dealing with is exception errors. If you have any questions, please let me know.